whispers from the grave. Elias woke up in his bedroom, but something felt off. The air was stale, the walls seemed darker, and a strange silence filled the space. He rubbed his eyes and stood up, his feet touching the cold wooden floor. His phone was dead. The clock on the wall had stopped at 3:15 a.m. He walked toward the door, but as he reached for the handle, a sudden chill ran down his spine. The doorknob was ice cold. Taking a deep breath, he turned it and stepped out into the hallway. But the house, it wasn't the same. The walls were cracked, the furniture was covered in dust, and there was an overwhelming smell of decay. His family's photos on the wall were faded, their faces blurred as if time had erased them. Then he saw her. At the end of the hallway, a woman in a tattered white dress stood motionless. Her long black hair covered her face, her head slightly tilted. "Mom?" Elias whispered. The woman twitched. A low, guttural sound escaped her lips. Elias took a step back. That wasn't his mother. The woman's head snapped up, revealing a grotesque, hollowed-out face. Her eyes were empty sockets, her mouth stretched into an unnatural grin. She let out a blood-curdling shriek and rushed toward him. Elias turned and bolted into his room, slamming the door behind him. His heart pounded. He fumbled for something, anything, to defend himself, but the room had changed. His bed was gone. The windows were bricked up. Then, a whisper, "Elias, you don't belong here." The voice wasn't human. It came from the walls, from the shadows, from deep within his own skull. His breathing became ragged. He grabbed the chair near his desk and held it up, his hands trembling. The whispers grew louder, overlapping voices calling his name. Suddenly, the door burst open. But there was no one there. Only darkness. A force yanked him forward. He tried to fight it, but his body was weightless, as if he were being pulled into an abyss. He screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the void, and then silence. When Elias opened his eyes, he was lying in an open grave. A tombstone stood before him, the inscription carved deep into the stone, Elias Carter, 1995 to 2024, rest in peace. His breath hitched. He stumbled out of the grave and turned to run, but the world around him was different. The cemetery stretched endlessly in every direction, gravestones lined up like soldiers in the dark. A thick fog crept along the ground. And then, he heard it again, the whisper, "You are one of us now." The ground beneath him trembled. Hands, cold, decayed, lifeless, began reaching out from the earth, clawing at his legs, dragging him back into the grave. He screamed, but no one could hear him. No one living, at least, because Elias was already dead.